What's wrong with 79th? Fluent readers in 21st century. Hi, welcome back to my channel, The Daily Winner, and in today's video, I'll be sharing some basic information about the PISA test results, especially the reading results, where the Philippines ranked last, or 79 out of 79 countries. So what's wrong with 79? So please stay tuned and until the end of the video, because at the end of the video I'll be giving you a trivia question, and whoever gets to answer or provide the correct answer, the first two correct answers, will get 50 pesos worth of cell phone load each. So let's get started. Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. So I think this is basically what happened to our kids during the PISA test. So last December 2019, the results for PISA, or Program for International Students Assessment Test for 2018, that was given in 2018 of the OECD, or the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, shocked and at the same time alarmed the Filipino, most especially the people in the academe. Why? Because Philippines ranked last, or 79 out of 79 countries, in the PISA reading test. There's a running joke with students in school, diba? Okay lang hindi first, wag lang last. But doesn't sound like a joke right now for this topic. 79 place for reading. That's 79 out of 79 countries. 77th out of 78 countries placed for mathematics. 77th out of 78 for science. Those are not really good. We ranked last. So mga reactions ng mga tao. Excuse me, is this for real? We were shocked. Why? Yes, they were shocked too. But don't be so happy. Mas matalino pa rin kami sa inyo. Okay, wag kang OA. Yes, ma'am, but we don't blame you. So people started to ask, are our students stupid? Are the teachers not teaching well because they're not compensated enough? Kulang ba ang sahod nila kaya hindi sila nagtuturo ng mabuti? Who is to be blamed? So we started to play the blame game. His fault, her fault, never our fault. So stop blaming the victim. I'm referring to the teachers and students who are the main characters in school. So before we blame others, we should know some basic information about this issue. So let's start with defining what is PISA, or learn about what is PISA. So it's basically an international standardized assessment, meaning it's a assessment based on research. So it's credible, reliable. So why do they do this? PISA is a worldwide study of an organization called OECD for Economic Development. They do this in member and non-member nations, intended to evaluate educational systems. Paano? By measuring the scholastic performance of 15-year-old school students, meaning students who are going to school. So, yung mga nag-aaral sa bahay, homeschooling, are not included. And they are being tested for their scholastic performance in 3 areas: mathematics, science, and reading. In the reading test, it does not test the students' fluency in reading or how good they are in spelling and word recognition. So the test, which is usually what we do with our kids here in the Philippines, we teach them basically basic information on fluency, like spelling, grammar rules. Although those are important, but they're not really a test of the ability or the things that our students should possess to be able to become fluent readers in the 21st century. The test rather is evaluating the students' ability to construct, extend, effect, meaning process and evaluate information. And it took 5,000 students from each participating countries as a general rule. Why do I say it's as a general rule? Because there are countries, like some countries in Europe, they do not have that number of students. So whatever the number is, if it's 4,500, 3,500, everyone will take, which is so much better, right? So that's PISA. Now, why did we take PISA? Um, FYI, this is our first time to take this test, and we failed, and we ranked last. So why did we took this, or why was it important for us? Because PISA test, because we said a while back, it's a standardized assessment, so it will help us provide baseline data. The results will give us baseline data for curriculum development. So when we develop our curriculum, it will be based on data, not on it will not be based on our whims and wishes. It's based on data. That's how curriculum should be developed, especially for policy making. Benchmarking the effectiveness of programs and reforms that will eventually lead to reflective education for all of us. Now, what was the test about? So the test was a little about narrative literacy test, which is what our students are familiar with. So this is basically narrative literacy is stories, prose, where we ask our students to identify basic informations like the plot, the characters, the setting, etc. And then there was more on informational literacy test. And you ask, what is this informational literacy test? Why do they give this to test for the fluency of the reading fluency of the students? Number one, informational literacy test includes processing, evaluating information, identifying primary and secondary sources from different materials, not books, not prose, not narrative. Examples are graphs, essays, news articles, and the likes. Why? Because this is what is required for our students to be competitive when they work in the real world, because that is what is required of them. And the test composed of a little of multiple choice items and mostly answers that requires full question or full answer rather. Now, why did we fail? This is according to an interview to Mr. Frederick Sotto Perez, who is the president of the Reading Association of the Philippines. Number one is familiarity of the students in the format of the test. As I've said a while back, what we are used to is the narrative literacy or the narrative test, because that is how our students being taught in class, and not the informational literacy or test. Second, accessibility to print and digital media. This is especially true for students in schools in far-flung areas. Some of them do not have connectivity, no internet connection. Others do not have updated books, or they do not have enough books, or they do not have books at all. Only the teachers has the books and maybe photocopy, then share some information to the students. Maybe that's how it's worked. That's how it's done. Third rather, is the technology and the social media. Now, this is not to say that this is a bad thing. What Mr. Perez said is that what we lack in this area is the guidance from the parents and the teachers alike. The guidance to teach students how to process, evaluate, and reflect on the information that they get, the technology and social media, so that they will know which is a fake news and which is credible one, so that they will know before they like, before they share, they understand the content and they reflect about it. And then, of course, there's the teacher training factor. What does this mean? Teachers, well, not all teachers are trained for reading instructional strategy. That's why Mr. Perez is emphasizing that both content teachers and reading teachers, content teachers, reading teachers who are reading subject matters like math, science, social studies, should undergo this training on how to teach reading, because all the teachers are reading teachers, and which is basically true. In math, for example, you teach students how to read graphs to make sense of a given data. In science, they need to learn how to read related literature, which is very, very important when they start writing their research papers. And lastly, under teacher training, Mr. Perez is emphasizing the role model or teacher modeling strategy, meaning teachers should be role models to our students, and therefore teachers should also read, which is again true and correct and should be done, and hopefully will be done. Teachers are readers. We should be readers ourselves. Okay, so what's next for us now that we know what PISA is all about, how we ranked? This is our first time. Okay, so as you have seen, based on the information and most reactions ng mga tao is we failed. I would like to think na we did not fail. Just like what Einstein said, or rather, it's Thomas Edison ata, no? Before he discovered light bulb. I did not fail. We did not fail. Our students did not fail. We just learned what's not working for us. So, narrative alone, narrative literacy is not enough. We need informational literacy, because that is what is required for our students to become fluent readers in the 21st centuries, so that they become competitive individuals, workers in the marketplace. Okay, so before we end, as promised a while back, I'll be providing the trivia question. And the first two to give me the correct answer will get 50 pesos worth of cell phone load each. So our question is, if the Philippines ranked 79 in the reading test, what country ranked first? Okay, so hopefully you learned something from this issue, and on our next video, we will talk about, or I will be sharing about how kids learn to read down from the pre-kindergarten period, so mga 3 to 5 years old. And then, of course, the level or the reading levels and developmental reading levels and strategies. Okay, thank you so much for watching.